psychology of overthinking isn't a modern problem. It's a human problem that's been solved. Marcus Aurelius discovered something profound about the human mind. We don't suffer from our circumstances. We suffer from our thoughts about our circumstances. And those thoughts follow predictable psychological patterns that can be interrupted. Right now, your brain is probably generating worried thoughts about 3 different situations: past conversations you want to replay, future scenarios you want to control, present moments you're not actually experiencing because you're mentally somewhere else. When caught in overwhelming worry, imagine pulling back your perspective like a camera zooming out. See yourself in your current situation, then your room, your building, your city, your country, the planet. Notice how this shift affects the emotional intensity of your concern. This is the psychology of overthinking in action, and Stoicism contains the precise cure. Not philosophical theory, but practical psychological tools that work with how your mind actually functions. In the next 10 minutes, you'll discover exactly why your mind creates this suffering and the 4 Stoic techniques that can cure it permanently. These aren't ancient abstractions, they're psychological interventions that modern neuroscience confirms actually rewire your brain. Let's start with the psychology behind why you overthink and why everything you've tried so far hasn't worked. Here's what's really happening when you overthink. Your mind is confusing facts with interpretations. Picture this common scenario. Your boss sends you an email that just says, "See me tomorrow at 10 a.m." Immediately, your brain starts generating explanations. "I'm in trouble. They're going to fire me. I must have made a mistake." Notice what happened. The fact: a meeting request. Your interpretation: disaster predictions. The Stoics understood that we don't suffer from events themselves, but from our judgments about events. Your emotional pain comes not from the email, but from the story you've created about what it means. Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient insight. Your brain's threat detection system evolved to keep you alive in dangerous environments. It's incredibly good at spotting potential problems and preparing for the worst. But in our modern world, this same system treats a delayed text message like a life-threatening emergency. Your prefrontal cortex gets hijacked into solving problems that don't exist yet, may never exist, or aren't even yours to solve. The key insight: you can't control your initial thoughts, but you have complete power over what you do with them. You can feed them with attention and emotional energy, or you can observe them with wisdom and let them pass. This distinction between what's within your control and what isn't forms the foundation of mental freedom. The most practical wisdom ever discovered can be summarized in one sentence: focus only on what's entirely within your control. This sounds obvious, but most people spend 90% of their mental energy on things they cannot influence. Within your complete control, your actions, responses, judgments, character, effort, and attention. Outside your control, other people's thoughts, natural events, the past, the future, and outcomes that depend on others. Here's how this transforms overthinking. You have a presentation tomorrow. Your mind immediately jumps to, what if I mess up? What if they think I'm incompetent? What if I forget everything? Stoic thinking redirects this. I cannot control their opinion, but I can control my preparation. I cannot control their reaction, but I can control showing up authentically. I cannot guarantee success, but I can guarantee my best effort. This isn't positive thinking, it's precise thinking. You're not pretending everything will be perfect. You're focusing your mental energy where it can actually create value. When you stop wrestling with what you cannot change, you discover enormous power over what you can. This shift alone eliminates 80% of overthinking because you're no longer trying to control the uncontrollable. Ancient philosophy gave us 4 practical tools to maintain mental clarity: You can start using them today. Every morning before diving into your day, spend 5 minutes creating 2 lists: things within my control today, your attitude, preparation level, responses to challenges, quality of work, kindness to others, things outside my control that I've been worrying about, others' opinions, traffic delays, whether you get promoted, your ex's new relationship, economic uncertainty. Write these down physically. This engages your rational mind and creates a clear boundary between your sphere of influence and everything else. This simple practice begins rewiring your brain to invest energy where it can actually make a difference. Your problems deserve attention, but they don't deserve to consume your entire mental landscape. This technique right-sizes your challenges and restores proportion to your thinking. Your mind wants to time travel, replaying past mistakes or rehearsing future disasters. But your actual power exists only in this moment. When you notice anxious thinking beginning, return attention to immediate reality. What are you physically experiencing right now? What can you see, hear, or feel in this moment? What action, if any, does this present situation actually require? This isn't escaping your problems, it's returning to the only place where you can actually solve them. Before sleep, examine your day with curiosity rather than judgment. Where did I waste mental energy on things outside my control? Where did I respond with wisdom rather than react emotionally? What can I learn from today's challenges? This builds self-awareness and gradually makes wise responses more automatic. You're training your mind to recognize patterns and choose better reactions over time. These practices work because they align with how your brain actually functions. Consistent application literally creates new neural pathways, making calm responses feel more natural. Remember, you're not trying to achieve perfect peace overnight. You're building mental strength through daily practice, just like physical exercise builds muscle. Let me be direct. Some days these practices will feel impossible. Your anxiety will be overwhelming and ancient wisdom will seem irrelevant. On those difficult days, remember this fundamental truth. You're not trying to eliminate worried thoughts. That's impossible and not the goal. You're developing a different relationship with them. Instead of being controlled by your thoughts, you're learning to observe them. Instead of believing every anxious prediction, you're questioning their accuracy. Instead of fighting reality, you're working skillfully with what exists. Progress isn't measured by perfect calm, but by your growing ability to return to wisdom when you've lost it. Some days you'll catch overthinking early and redirect it smoothly. Other days you'll spiral for hours before remembering you have tools. Both experiences are completely normal parts of developing mental strength. Be patient with yourself. Even the wisest philosophers struggled with worry and frustration. The difference is they developed systems to work with these challenges rather than be overwhelmed by them. Growth happens through consistent practice, not perfect performance. Here's what changes when you apply these principles consistently. You stop being at war with your own mind. The anxious thoughts still arise. That's how brains work. But they no longer hijack your entire day. You can acknowledge them, assess them rationally, and choose responses based on wisdom rather than fear. You discover that most of your suffering was self-created through mental time travel and trying to control the uncontrollable. When you redirect that energy toward your actual sphere of influence, life becomes remarkably more manageable. This isn't about becoming emotionless or disconnected. It's about responding to life from a place of strength rather than reacting from a place of anxiety. You still care deeply about outcomes. You just don't torture yourself about things beyond your power. Your mind can be your greatest enemy or your most valuable ally. These ancient practices show you how to make it an ally, creating inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Tomorrow morning, try the 5-minute filter. List 3 things within your control and 3 things outside it that you've been worrying about. This week, when overthinking begins, ask the fundamental question: is this within my control or outside it? Then redirect your energy accordingly. In the comments, share one worry you're ready to release because it's outside your control, and one thing within your control that deserves your mental energy instead. Remember, you don't need to master these concepts immediately. You just need to start practicing them consistently. Every time you choose wisdom over worry, you're building mental strength that compounds over time. Ancient philosophy discovered timeless principles for human flourishing. Now you have the tools to apply them in your modern life. Your peaceful mind is waiting. Start building it today. Subscribe for more practical philosophy with related video suggestions.